Hello everyone, today I am Rishabh Bhardwaj, Assistant Professor in St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management, Farrukhnagar, Gurgaon, taking the lecture of Automobile in Mechanical Department, Semester 6. Today we will cover up the topic that is types of rear axle drive. This is our lecture number 11. Rear axle. Rear axle are the structure member on which rear wheels are mounted on bearings. The weight of the body of the automobile due to load of the occupancies is transmitted through the springs of axle casing. Rear axle is that component of the automobile on which the two rear wheels are mounted. Never get confused between a shaft or an axle. An axle is not a rotating component, but shaft is a rotating component. Axles are purely designed for static loading and not for the dynamic loading. When they design, the torsion stiffness is not considered during because they are not subjected to torsion stress. In case of rear wheel drive vehicle, rear axle also the differential casing together with differential in it to be mounted on it. The two half shaft pass through the rear axle in case of independent suspension rear wheel drive vehicle. The two ends of the rear axle are fitted into the wheel hub of the two rear wheel. The rear axle could also be known as solid axle as found in tractors. Depending upon the type of vehicle, that could be medium, heavy or extra heavy, the rear axle casing may be different types or may not facilitate the mounting of rear axle on them. Front axle is located in the front and the facilitating the mounting of two front wheels. The front axle is also known as beam axle. Let's discuss the forces and torsion on rear axle. The four component or the 4 points that we have to mainly focus, that is the weight of the body, driving thrust, torsion reaction and side thrust. On the rear axle we will experience the 4 points on which we have to design or take the design concentration before during the designing the rear axle. First, if we talking about the weight of the body vehicle, the rear axle behaves like a beam supported at the ends and loaded at 2 points. The load coming on the axle is due to the weight of the body being transmitted through the suspension spring. The weight causes shear force and bending on the wheels. Next, we will discuss the driving thrust. Torque produced by the engine causes the thrust on the wheels. This force is responsible for the forward motion of the vehicle. The drive force from the vehicle is transmitted to the body or chassis by means of radius rod and thrust members. These members are in longitudinal direction connected to axle casing and the body. Third, we have a torque reaction. The torque reaction occurs when the resistance offered by the wheel to the motion. This causes a torque produced on the axle in the counterclock direction. When viewed from the left side of the vehicle on rear wheel axle, the torque produced by the braking torque is just to oppose the torque reaction. The torque reaction is opposed by Penhard rod which connect the rear axle to the wheel body or chassis and prevent excessive bending loading coming on the propeller shaft. Fourth, we have a side thrust. The side thrust coming to the axle can be taken by Penhard rod. The side thrust comes mainly when the vehicle is turning a turn or when the vehicle is moving along an literally inclined surface. let's discuss about the load coming on the live rear axle shaft. Live rear axle shaft means while the rear axle in the motion. The shearing force due to vehicle weight, we will experience shear force due to the vehicle weight. The bending moment due to the offset of the wheel and the suspension system. Third, we have a third end thrust due to the side force due to cornering side wind, etc. Fourth, we have bending moment due to end thrust and reaction from the tires. Fifth, we have a driving torque. Let's discuss about the types of rear axle supportings. We have three types of supporting that are semi-floating axle, then full floating axle, and third, three-quarter floating axle. We will discuss one by one and starting with the semi-floating axle. A semi-floating axle is an axle axle shaft that is connecting directly to the wheels and transfer power to them from the differential. One side of the bearing has an axle housing and the other side of the axle rod. This allows the rod to ensure that the weight of the vehicle and ensure the torque and the bending effect. Since the rod is enduring the weight and not the assembly, it is able to handle more weight than a floating axle but not as much as the weight of full floating axle. Most vehicles on the road which have four-wheel drive will likely contain a semi-floating axle. These axles are not meant for vehicles that carry too much weight, such as SUVs and the pickup trucks. Semi-floating axles are meant for lighter cars which people drive every day to work or around their town. The axles themselves are lighter, which makes them very easy to install in a vehicle. Finally, a vehicle with semi-floating axle are cheaper than the full floating axle. There is no sense in spending extra money on the SUVs or pickup trucks if you have going for a hauling anything or on a regular basis. A semi-floating axle will let you carry some weight through all, still you save money. The only outside is that the axle shaft breaks while you are driving. The wheel will come loose and because they connected to the shaft. The wheel hub is connected directly to the rear shaft. Although the load are taken by the rear axle that will be sharing bending and thrust, driving torque and the brake torque. What are the advantages of semi-floating axle? The semi-floating axle is the simplest and the cheapest and they are widely used in the common cars. Disadvantages: the axle has to be designed for carrying higher loads, that is axle are higher diameter for the same torque transmitting by the other types of axle supportings. Next we have the diagram of semi-floating axle figure. We have the axle casing over here and then we have an axle shaft and which is mounted on a taper keyed wheel hub. With the help of these tapered wheel hub, we are able to lock this hub easily. Then we have full floating axle. Full floating axle has the wheel hub and rod attached together. The axle housing has the wheel mounted onto it rather than onto the axle rod. This means the rod does not get the bend effect like with the semi-floating axle. The load will get the torque effect only, which get transmitted to the wheel from the differential. Because of this, the assembly endure the weight of the vehicle rather than the axle shaft. This is how the full floating axle is able to support so much more weight than the floating axle. The type of vehicle that will contain full floating axle are big trucks, pickup trucks and SUVs. These are all vehicles that are built to haul an extra load of weight behind them. With a full floating axle inside this vehicle, they are able to carry weight any stacked bags. Plus, a floating axle will make your vehicle safer to drive because the wheels are not attached to the axle. They are attached to the wheel hub. This means if the axle were to break, the axle would stay attached and continue to rotate on the road. The big downside to the full floating axle is that it costs more money to manufacture than semi-floating axle. This means the vehicle with a full floating axle are going to be more expensive. So if you really need a vehicle for the purpose of hauling heavy items, then full floating axle is definitely worth the investment. In this diagram you can see we have a wheel strut, bearing lock nut, axle shaft, axle casing and the flange sleeves by which we are able to lock all the angles and the angle shafts if in the case of broken or damage we are still able to rotate or locking the axle. These are very robust type and used in heavy vehicles. The axle shaft carry only the drive torque on their failure does not affect the vehicle wheels. The vehicle can be towed with the broken axle shaft. The axle shaft can be replaced by without jacking. Disadvantage is that the cost higher in cost. The wheel hubs are mounted directly on the axle casing and are supported two taper roller bearings. The load of the axle is very less and it needs taking the drive torque 3/4 floating axle. The 3/4 floating axle bearings are on the axle casing and hub. This type is a compromised between the full floating type and a semi-floating type. In this case, the major part of the vehicle weight is taken by axle casing, not the axle. This is the main advantages of 3/4 floating type over half floating type. The axle shaft do not have to withstand any shearing or bending. It has to take only the end loads and driving torque. Thus, axle braking is less in this case as compared to floating type. Even though it is better than the floating type, it not it is not as robust as full floating type. 3/4 floating axle is compromised or is the between the more burst full floating type and simplest as semi floating type. As you can see in the figure, there all the conditions and techniques the techniques by which the 3/4 floating axle are fitted is very easy and very fine way. In this, bearing is located between the axle casing and the hub instead of between the axle casing and the shaft. In case of semi-floating axle, as it is clearly from the figure, the axle shaft do not have to withstand any shearing or bending action due to the weight of the vehicle, which are taken by the axle easy through the hub, and the bearing provides the bearing lies in the plane on the road wheel. However, it has to taken that the low end loads and the driving torque. At one time, this type of axle was popular for cars and light commercial vehicles. However, with the improvement in design and the material and fabrication technique, it's cheaper and Semi-floating axle are again being preferred these days over the 3/4 floating types. The main advantages of 3/4 floating axle is that one, at the time this axle was commonly used in lightweight vehicles and the commercial vehicles. The disadvantage, the axle are not so longer preferred instead of semi-floating type. Then we have a rear axle casing. We have the three types of casing, that is split type, benzo and Salisbury. The benzo is also known as separate carrier type, and Salisbury is also generally known as integral carrier type. First we will discuss about the split type. The axle casing is made of two halves and then bolted together for assembly. But the main disadvantage is whole rear axle has to remove as a unit and reassembled in case of fault. This kind is no longer now used. As you can see in the split type, we have to disassemble all full complete component when the fault occurs. In benzo or separate carrier type, the axle is made as a single unit. The complete differential unit is separate unit and is bolted to the axle casing, and the two shafts are put together. As you can see in this figure, in benzo type, the whole differential is mounted over the axle body, which will be mounted with the help of bolts. In case of repair, the shaft can be taken from the two sides and differential can be removed very easily. As it is mounted by the help of bolts, we can easily unbolt the differential and remove and repair it very easily. Third is a Salisbury or integral carrier type. This is similar to the benzo type except that the permanent housing tube are pressed and welded on the sides. This is a most commonly used kind of rear wheel driven in this car. As you can see in the figure, all the components can be bifurcated and disassembled in Salisbury type of rear axle figure, in which you have seen all the components are bifurcated and disassembled in the case of repair, and the fault can be easily detected and the part can be replaced very easily, and we can reassemble all the components in the axle and differential and make it repair very easily, and the repairing cost is less as we can replace only a single part. We don't have to use the many other parts or complete differential or rear axle in case of damage or repair. Thank you for watching this video and stay tuned for our next video that will be coming soon.